Good morning, venture capital. This is Metagame, and today's episode is about how nearly $800 billion is fundamentally reshaping the startup landscape across 4 major Texas cities, creating an unprecedented gravitational pull that's attracting founders, investors, and innovation at a scale we've never seen before. $79.6 billion, that's what Texas deployed across 284 deals in the back half of last year. And here's the part that should make every coastal-obsessed allocator nervous. The average check size was 3 times larger than California's. 3 times. So while everyone's still fighting over Sand Hill Road office space and paying San Francisco rent to feel important, Texas quietly became the place where actual capital formation happens at scale. The question isn't whether you noticed. The question is whether you're positioned for a market where your zip code determines your check size more than your sector thesis ever could. Let's start with Dallas. Because Dallas is doing something that should be impossible according to the old playbook. $37.9 billion across 96 deals. Deal count grew 6.7% quarter over quarter. You know what San Francisco did in the same period? Contracted 12%. New York, down 8. Dallas grew, in both dimensions. More deals and bigger checks. That's not supposed to happen. The conventional wisdom says you get concentration or velocity, not both. But here's what the SEC Form D data actually reveals. Dallas is becoming the preferred domicile for pooled investment funds and real estate vehicles that used to default to New York or Delaware structures. Invesco alone filed multiple Form Ds totaling over $33.7 billion from a Dallas address. These aren't startups. These are institutional capital aggregation vehicles choosing Texas because the math works better. No state income tax, business-friendly courts, operational flexibility that makes Delaware look like it's running on legacy infrastructure. Now, if Dallas is the story of institutional migration, Fort Worth is the story that should stop you mid-pitch. 28 deals, $19.9 billion deployed. That's a $710 million average deal size. Let me contextualize that for you. It's 7.1 times the national venture average and 3.2 times what Dallas is doing per deal. Fort Worth isn't playing the venture game. Fort Worth is where continuation funds, GP-led secondaries, and megafund final closes go to domicile when they want Texas benefits without Dallas overhead. The 28 deal count is the tell. This isn't one sovereign wealth fund writing a single check. This is systematic selection. Fund managers running capital above $250 million who haven't evaluated a Fort Worth structure are leaving structural alpha on the table. And I don't mean marginal alpha. A $500 million fund saves $15 million plus annually versus comparable coastal structures. That's 3% of AUM returned to LPs without taking a single basis point of portfolio risk. That's not optimization. That's a competitive weapon. Building a new product? Temez Labs takes you from napkin sketch to the App Store. Trusted by Fortune 500s for quality, security, and speed. Book your free strategy session at temez.ai. Austin, meanwhile, is doing what Austin does best, maintaining velocity while everyone else compresses. 77 deals, highest count in Texas, concentrated in enterprise infrastructure, robotics, and what I'd call picks and shovels AI tooling. Apptronic raised $331 million for robotics. Acumera Holdings pulled in $219 million for infrastructure. Ontic Technologies grabbed $196 million in aerospace tech. Notice what's missing: consumer AI, pure software plays. Austin isn't chasing the model layer. Austin is funding the deployment infrastructure that actually makes AI work at enterprise scale. And here's the competitive intelligence that matters. While San Francisco is compressing seed and Series A counts, Austin is accelerating early-stage formation. The university pipeline from UT Austin is feeding technical founding teams. Tesla's Gigafactory proximity is pulling robotics capital. Oracle's headquarters relocation is driving enterprise infrastructure deals. Austin figured out something the Bay Area forgot. You need density of technical talent and corporate demand in the same geography. Novel concept, apparently. Houston is where this whole Texas thesis gets really interesting because Houston is writing checks that don't look like venture at all. 44 deals, split between energy innovation at commercial scale and industrial automation. Fervo Energy's $462 million Series E is the headline, but the framing is the insight. That round is explicitly positioned around firm power for AI, not oil rigs, not traditional energy, power infrastructure, purpose-built for hyperscale data center loads. Fervo's Cape Station project is targeting 100 megawatts in 2026, scaling to 500 megawatts by 2028. That's utility-scale build-out, moving at startup speed, funded in Houston because that's where energy commercialization expertise actually lives. Sage Geosystems raised $97 million plus with Ormat as a strategic partner, commercializing next-generation geothermal for baseload power. These deals wouldn't exist without AI infrastructure strain. If training runs and inference scale 10x, which is the consensus forecast, power infrastructure has to match. Houston is funding that bottleneck today. Traditional venture portfolios have zero energy infrastructure allocation, which means zero exposure to a return stream that's uncorrelated to software multiples. That's not a strategy. That's an accident.
Oh, hey, friend. Do you like what you're hearing? Now you can have a ridiculously amazing podcast, too. Check out holler.studio to get yourself one today.
Let me connect the dots on what Texas is actually doing here, because it's not random. Dallas captures institutional capital aggregation, Fort Worth captures megascale continuation vehicles, Austin captures early-stage tech velocity, Houston captures energy infrastructure commercialization. Each city has solved for a specific capital need, and together they've created a $79.6 billion ecosystem where geography determines what's possible more than sector selection ever could. This is the fracturing of capital formation along state lines. Regulatory environments and infrastructure capacity are creating winner-take-most dynamics that the old coastal-centric model completely misses. You can't write a $7-10 million average check in San Francisco because the deal structures don't exist there at that scale. You can't fund a $462 million energy infrastructure project in Boston because the commercialization expertise isn't in the room. Texas didn't just attract capital. Texas built the structural capacity to deploy capital at scales that other geographies can't match. The AI context makes this even more pointed. That's our venture capital podcast for today. If you learned something new, tap 5 stars and follow our show. Thank you for listening to Metagame.
Grep News. Thomas.